to the ReaN Show, Series 3. Now, that was not me, of course, that was my dog. Anyway, so, the worst weather on Earth, what do you think it is? Well, before we get into this incredible episode, let's see the closest lightning strikes. Not the closest, because that's the scariest lightning strikes on Earth. Now, be warned about flashing and all that. Obviously, it is, lightning, so very cautious when watching this. And yeah, so here we go. This is the scariest lightning strikes ever.
I think we need to go inside.
Yeah, that just hit the light pole right there.
Yeah. My God!
Yes!
I got that first one.
Obviously, lightning don't strike twice, but in that video, it looks like it did. So, without further ado, let's talk more about what the lightning strikes are made in terms of this video. Now, you might have heard people were shocked, people were scared, obviously, by the lightning strikes. But yeah, it is no laughing matter. The safest thing is staying in your cars, because the rubber in your tyres will stop the strike hurting, or even striking where you are. But overall, yeah, it looks like where I am in Wales, we don't get much lightning or storms. So I think I'm happy for that. Mind you, I do like a good storm, so here are some of the storms, starting with, of course, the tornado.
Back up! It's coming back towards us!
Getting closer and it's growing.
Tell me bring this in relation to the car.
To the right of the road and it's coming towards us.
Holy moly. Alright. Holy shit.
my God. Keep going. You got this, right?
Yeah, I got this. Whoa! Woo! Look at that town's getting hit. We're drive up, Ricky. Yeah, drive up there. Oh my God.
Tornadoes were amazing. They're amazing to look at. The one thing I really want to do is go to America and have a look at these tornadoes. I do love to see a tornado in the flesh, and yeah, how amazing would it be to see an actual tornado right in front of your eyes? Obviously, I watched the film Twister, and that was incredible. So yeah, tornadoes are a great watch. Obviously, if it's like far away from any civilians or any like public places, you can see from afar. At some fields, like always you see with a tornado, obviously it goes up in F. So F1 is, I believe, is the one where not much happens. Maybe a few tiles on your roof, but that's about it. F2 is where it strengthens. It goes from tearing a tiny bit of your roof to basically more parts off the roof, and potentially picking up cars and all that. F3 is the one where it tears down houses and small buildings, of course, and all that, along with like cars and all that. F4 is where stuff gets worse. F4, your house gets ripped apart, your either mini hotel gets ripped apart, and all that jazz. So bigger buildings, of course, for F4 tornadoes, so deadly, of course, but F5 is the worst. F5 is the worst. So if you see an F5 tornado, run as far as you can. So we got the lightning strikes out the way. We got the tornadoes out the way. So I think it's time to see another natural disaster. Yes, I'm thinking of meteors. Obviously, meteors are the ones that people talk about the most. They're the most disastrous. Obviously, people think asteroids as well as meteors, but yeah, so that's that. And yeah, so that's been meteors, tornadoes, and lightning strikes. But there's still a huge chunk of disasters we need to look through. So let's start with the next one, is it? Let's start with forest fires. Now, forest fires have been happening in America, and I believe they're still happening. I'm not 100%, But forest fires are huge. You can see them from space. That's how huge they are. So obviously they are massive. But I'm going to shut up now because I know you don't want to hear my voice. So sit back, enjoy, and here are forest fires in America.
But is so fascinated by the fire, he lingers in the driveway to capture it on camera. Also on Aaron's way are video producer Steve Lawrence and a colleague from the Canadian Broadcasting Corporation. This is where Gallagher and Lawrence meet in that fateful moment where they end up caught on camera.
You're gonna lose a house? I'll lose my house.
The crew spots Gallagher, and the cameraman jumps out to record the scene unfolding.
Ryan's house right here. My brother-in-law's and mine's up there, and there's...
Suddenly, the fire makes a jump in the trees overhead.
There's fires right here, too. Yeah, it's all around us. Oh, damn! Stuff starts to happen real quick then. Holy get out of here!
Already in the van, his panicked partner screams.
Get out of here!
Get in, get in, get in, get in! Leave your tripod, get in, get in!
Lawrence races to the van, but the door's locked.
I tugged on the door 3 or 4 times and realized it's locked.
Go!
Literally no air left to breathe.
Leave your tripod.
I was afraid that would have been the last chance we would have had to get out of there.
The news crew escapes, but Gallagher decides to stick around.
They made a getaway, and I still stayed there and recorded.
Holy
I thought about him all night. I was wondering, like, what happened to this guy? Who was this guy?
Gallagher's van is just a few feet away, but he's circled by fire. He realizes maybe he's made a mistake by staying and needs to get out of there.
Obviously, forest fires are dangerous. So we got forest fires out the way, we got meteors out the way, we got tornadoes out the way, we got lightning strikes. But next on the agenda, obviously it has to be one thing and one thing only, my good friends. And that is sinkholes.
South Korea captures 2 people falling into a sinkhole. Watch this. The sidewalk just suddenly collapsed right under their feet. They fell nearly 10 feet, but only suffered minor injuries. Wow.
Sinkholes are deadly. Thank God there's not many in the UK. Sinkholes are deadly, yeah. So, mainly the disasters happen in America, obviously. And, yeah, so thank goodness sinkholes don't happen in the UK. Imagine that. That would be that would be absolutely devastating, of course. Because no one can predict where a sinkhole could be until it happens. I mean, one day you could be driving in a car. The next, you're in a massive hole of impossibilities. So, sinkholes are not the one. Sinkholes are not the one, my good friends. Next disaster. It has to be the daddy of them all. It has to be tsunami.
赶紧跑！让冲下去嘞！哇，这真是扛不住！哇，拍不上来吗？肯定拍上来，别急。哇！
Tsunamis, of course, is no laughing matter. Japan had a tsunami in recent years. Everyone nearly died, and yeah, it's terrible, terrible ways to die. Is a tsunami, a wall of water, obviously devastating the coastlines and the whole town, of course. A tsunami is caused by earthquakes. That's obviously in the Earth's magnetic field, in the Earth's crust. It's basically a moving layer of molten rock, and sometimes that can shake a bit, and that can cause rumbles in the ocean, and that, my good friends, can cause earthquakes. Not earthquakes, tsunamis to happen. And yeah, it's gonna, I hope no tsunami hit Wales or hits the UK, but you never know in the future with climate change and global warming, of course. But tsunamis are the worst out the lot. But that is not the devastating part of natural disasters. Yes, this is the daddy of them all. This is asteroids.
When the asteroid struck, most of the impact energy was deflected out or up. Only 1% of the force traveled down into the ground. But it's enough to ring the planet like a bell. Seismic waves radiate across and through the Earth. "16 minutes and 40 seconds later, they reach the Pacific Northwest. The valley shakes as a magnitude 11 earthquake ripples through the ground. Triceratops panic at the edges of the valley in their desperate attempt to escape the tremors and falling debris. Smaller animals take shelter underground. Meanwhile, the ejecta cloud approaches at 16,000 kilometers per hour, baking the Earth with unrelenting heat. Millions of volts of static electricity charge the cloud like a giant battery, creating a vast electrical storm. Superheated rocks shower the valley in a burning hail. The Quetzalcoatlus managed to flee the devastation caused by the quake, but there's no way to hide from a rain of fire. Only the valley floor can provide shelter, and they're too big to descend quickly. Eventually, the male's tattered wings can no longer keep him aloft. If his mate doesn't find shelter soon, she'll be next. On the mountain slopes, two triceratops emerge above the cool sea mist. They're almost out of the quake-ravaged valley when the ejector cloud arrives. Just hours ago, North America was a dinosaur paradise. Now, it's a living hell. The ejector cloud continues its spread across the globe, but the effects it has on the ground vary dramatically. "12,000 kilometers away in Mongolia, the cloud rolls in silently from the east. Temperatures on the ground creep upwards, a few degrees hotter every second. There's no audible warning for the creatures here, only the mounting heat. As the air reaches 50 degrees Celsius, their only hope is shelter. At 70 degrees, survival is measured in minutes. And at over 90 degrees, in mere seconds. 90 minutes after impact, the temperature on the ground in Mongolia peaks at 150 degrees Celsius.
Obviously, asteroids are the ones that people talk about the most, that predict the end of the world, but obviously the end of the world cannot predict what could happen. So, loads of asteroids, loads of tsunamis, loads of tornadoes, loads of sinkholes, loads of forest fires, loads of strikes of lightning, and a load of thunder. So, thank you all for watching. I know it's not productive, this episode, but rest assured, things could get better. So stick around. If you do go out and enjoy anything today to do with the worst weather on Earth, which obviously I think has to be the top of the daddy of them all. Not from space, of course. I'm talking about hurricanes. Yes, hurricanes are the worst weather of them all. Thank goodness none are in the UK. So if you like this episode, show some love, leave a like. If you are new to this episode and you want to see them all, there'll be a playlist below or on my channel, of course. And so yeah, thank you all for watching. My name is ReaN, and until next time, diolch yn fawr iawn.